was a woman who lived inside her head. She spoke daily to the woman, to the people who lived inside her head. Outside her head, the world continued. Outside her head, the band played on. Outside her head, the parties were in full swing. There was a woman who lived inside her head. The people spoke to her and said, "Aren't you the woman who lived inside your head?" She charged the wise old lady who told her stories about her life before she occupied the space inside her head. She loved the man who hugged her inside her head. He regularly held her hand and esteemed her, but only for a short time, she said, for he was the man who encouraged the woman who lived inside her head. There was a woman who lived inside her head. Outside her head, the people went along with their business. Outside her head, the nurses charged about and doctors prodded and orderlies were disorderly. And then the woman retreated back inside her head. Meanwhile, on the outside, life continued but at a slower pace. The moon shone but brighter. The seas rose, kingdoms rose and fell, and wars raged. But still the woman continued to live inside her head. The people on the outside told her she was mad and bad and even dead. But no, she said, I am not mad or bad or even dead. I simply choose to live inside my head. It's called Beauty Moses, your prayers are not done yet. Close to my hearing, she shouted to her God, tearful and fearful, for on higher ground she trod. Psalms and revelations plagued her all the while. Rage and indignation brought sadness to her smile. Daily she battled on the killing fields with God, upwards and onwards, for on higher ground she trod. Spiritually tainted by the evil she had done, seeking some comfort, for in mortals she found none. Previous indiscretions brought madness to her shame, but led on by her sorrow, she charged the holy name. Humbled and shoeless, for her feet touched holy ground, noble and defiant, for her solid rock she found. No mountaineer had climbed such heights, no mystic seer had seen such sights as she who walked on holy ground, as she whose solid rock had found. Larger than life stood she, sheer joy and ecstasy, onwards she trod, higher and higher still. Aye, what an awesome thrill, daily to God. I can't lose the memory, I still share the fantasy, I just can't forget. Beauty Moses, your prayers are not done yet. Thank you. I didn't prepare any poems to read because I thought I should try and gauge the audience. So I've brought a few that I think might be appropriate. This next poem is called Poet You're Suffering for Metaphor. Last year I didn't feel very good about myself. I just lost my job and I wasn't sure what would I be doing next. I spoke to Sue a few times and she was lovely. I went to the doctor. I never go to the doctor because I'm very defiant. I don't like to take anything and I'm very ratty. And he said to me, there's nothing wrong with you, Cecilia. You're simply suffering from metaphor. So I thought, sounds like a good poem. So I wrote, Poet, you're suffering from metaphor. It's a longish poem. The doctor checked my vitals and the neurosurgeon too. The nurses checked my blood pressure until my arm went blue. Then the doctor told me something I had never heard before. She said, "Poet, you're suffering from metaphor." I don't think that I've ever seen such a serious case before. Words are clogging up your arteries and they ooze from every pore. It's a case unlike any I've ever seen before. You have words inside your bones, in your teeth and in your jaw. Words that rhyme, words that don't, words that do, words that don't. Your vital signs are pleasurable. Your blood pressure is immeasurable. Your heartbeats are in tune with words and hints of common law. And your case is one of which the likes we've never seen before. You have creative ruse inside your shoes, and your blood flows overflowing with what we call the muse. He confirmed I had neurosis. He confirmed it was psychosis, and the vital diagnosis brought a promising prognosis. Then they took me to psychology. They examined my biology, and my unique physiology meant a visit to my neurology, which confirmed I had the law. And the law was unlike any they had ever seen before. The most serious case, they said, of the deadly metaphor. They said, "Poet, you're suffering from metaphor, and never has there been such a serious case before. Can you feel it in your teeth? Can you feel it in your jaw? You have words in your bones and in your lungs and in your jaw. Your blood pressure is immeasurable. Your vital signs are pleasurable. You have muse in your shoes. You have poetry in your jaw. You have adjective and adverbs oozing out from every pore. Your arteries are blocked with words that will and words that won't. Your vital signs are flowing with the muse and words that don't. You have creative ruse inside your shoes, and your blood flows overflowing with what we call the muse." The doctor told me, "Poet, you're very, very ill. You must write down every word that comes inside your head, then chill. There's nothing wrong with you," she said. "The problem lies inside your head. So go home and write like you never did before, because poet, you're suffering from metaphor." The prognosis was impeccable and the diagnosis good, and I went home straight away like the doctor said I should. I said, "Doctor, may I interject? Your diagnosis is correct. I can feel it in my joints, I can feel it in my jaw, I can feel it like I've never felt before. Doctor, I'm suffering from metaphor."